Hi everyone, Shade here with two builds. One I played through the early game of very hard. The other one I played like an hour and a half of, and is just a concept. But I think there are a lot of builds out there, but I just want to kind of throw it out there before Phantom Liberty comes out. I also wanted to mention that I am in the support streamer program for Phantom Liberty. So if you watch my Twitch stream, you'll be able to get a sniper rifle, and there are other streamers out there that allow you for iconic different outfit. I am doing the sniper rifle, so if you watch me for a set amount of hours, you'll be able to unlock that in game. So come out, watch me, starting on the 25th of September. Now, the first build is a build that I enjoyed playing in 1.4 to 1.6. Prior to this, it was strong. The whole concept around it was I wanted to open every door, and so I kind of built a character that was strong in tech, and also used gorilla arms to reach the threshold of strength that you needed to open every door. But this build revolves around sniper, specifically tech snipers, like the Nekomata and Breakthrough, and any kind of tech weapons, really. So we'll start with the tech tree. What you want to start off with is 6 into tech, 5 into cool, and 5 into reflexes. I didn't do that with my previous build. So we'll go into the tech tree. Like I said, I haven't played very much into it, so this is really just going to be kind of an overview of the skills. I'll link to this planner, and then give you some cyberware suggestions and just some stat suggestions to look out for. So in the tech tree, this revolves around cyber weapons, but it also revolves around tech weapons. Nekomata double dips from both the tech tree and the sniper tree, so you'll be able to get basically get both perks and create a pretty decent weapon. We'll go up the cyberware tree first. We'll get all things cyber. 10% of all cyberware stat modifiers are raised, and then you take 20% less cyber capacity cost for cyberware in the integumentary system and your skeleton. As I said previously, the cyberware capacity is daunting at first, and then it gets better the farther up you go. So just put in what you can and deal with it, and then just start adding them as you unlock. As your cyberware capacity goes up as you level, it also, you can find cyberware capacity shards on enemies, and then there's a few perks here that can help you increase your capacity. The first thing you really want to go for is driver update. You get additional stat on your cyberware, and it leads to chipware connoisseur, which allows you to choose from 2 stat modifier options. Then when you get to tier 3, you get 3. So basically you can choose 2 or 3 different versions of your cyberware to upgrade into. So the sooner you get this, the more you can start choosing which stats you get. Renaissance Punk is good because you get 4 cyberware capacity for each attribute that's 9 or higher. Once you get into Phantom Liberty, you can do that with 4. If you max out everything, you can even get it so that you can get all 5. So you can essentially get 20 more capacity through that. I also take Chrome Constitution. You get -5% incoming damage from if all your skeleton integumentary system slots are filled. And then I just chose Lucky Day because crafting components, I'm finding that just having a lot of those is great, especially if you're upgrading a lot. Cyberware, it costs a lot to upgrade cyberware, so getting extra crafting components is always a good thing. We take license to Chrome. You get more cyberware stat modifiers, 40 extra armor, and then it unlocks another slot for your skeleton. Cyborg, you reduce the cooldown of all cyberware if available slots are filled, if all available slots are filled. So you do that, and you reduce the cooldown of, say, your optical camo. This increases the duration of cyberware effects, so your optical camo goes for longer times. This is always good. And then I chose cellular adapter because that just adds a flat like 98 armor, plus it adds a lot of extra things based on your tech attribute. So having that max at 20 gives you a lot of extras, which I think are worth the perk. Then we take Edge Runner, which allows you to exceed your cyberware capacity by up to 50 points, but at the cost of health. It's half a percentage per point over capacity, so up to 25% less health for the extra cyberware that you're using. But when you neutralize an enemy with this on, there's a 1% chance for each point you're over capacity that you'll break into Fury, which gives you extra damage, extra crit chance, extra critical damage for 12 seconds. So the payoffs are pretty good. I was finding I've been using grenades a little bit, so I was thinking maybe just adding some grenade usage to this build might be good, because you can actually throw them quite far, but this also helps for your health packs and things too. So Glutton for War gives you 5% instant recharge of health items and grenades after neutralizing an enemy. Always great to get some cooldown back. First Aid ups the recharge speed of health items when you've only used one charge. So you get that first charge back really quick, and then 30% health through transfusion on the final charge of your equipped health item. So if you're spamming it really quickly, you get a little bit of extra boost from the last one. Health Freak, you get 8% recharge speed for health items and grenades. It stacks, so you know they just recharge faster, and then you get an extra health item charge. And your stuff recharges faster outside of combat and your health. We have Borrowed Time. It's 100% instant recharge of a health item after neutralizing an enemy if you're below 25% health and have no charges. So basically you get your health item back so you can heal yourself. And then Field Medic, it's 15% faster use of health items in combat. And then I got this for the extra recharge speed on health items and grenades. So that stacks, and just make sure you're always having your health items available, because in very hard, there's a lot of damage going out. This is the tech tree. It's pretty small comparative to everything else, but the first part is, and this unlocks at tech level 15, so you have to wait a bit for it. But the first one is Bolt. Gives you faster charge speed, more damage for charged shots, and then unlocks bolt shots. These trigger right before it fully charges, so it does 30% extra damage and penetrates armor better. And it says that full auto tech weapons fire bolts in short bursts, so it sounds like if you charge it up, it fires bolts faster. Internal clock increases the time window to fire a bolt, because I'm sure that this is pretty quick, so having a bigger window to time is always good. This gives you 10% charge speed for after firing a bolt, and it stacks 3 times. So you do this, you have 30% charge speed, so you can start just firing off bolts pretty quick. But if you do fire a non-bolt shot, it resets the stack. Shock value gives you the chance to ignore armor when you're bolt shooting, so that's great. And then in charge, tech weapons no longer fire automatically when reaching full charge, so you can hold it up. That was one of my favorite perks before 2.0, the ability to kind of hold the charge so that you can, you know, reposition if you have to and not have to charge up again. And then Chain Lightning, which I'm kind of excited to see. Bolt now deals electrical damage and releases electric arc that can hit 3 nearby enemies. I think this could be pretty cool. You know, as a little AoE clear when you're just kind of sniping, I think can be really useful, because the enemies sometimes tend to congregate together. So I think this could really help, which is why the grenades also work. Let's move into cool. For that, I take most of the stealth things. We have Feline Footwork, which gives you movement speed and mitigation chance. A small target gives you mitigation chance when crouched. Unexposed, you get mitigation chance when you're aiming from cover, which we'll do all the time since we're a tech sniper. And then Blind Spot gives us more mitigation chance, and enemies take longer to detect us based on our mitigation chance. Serpentine gives us mitigation chance when we're crouched sprinting, which we might need to do to maneuver around, especially if there's they tend to throw a lot of grenades, so getting out of there is really good. Creeping Death, Obstacle Camo, I'm undetected. You neutralize somebody, you get extra health, extra stamina, and movement speed, which is really good. Shinobi Spirit, less cost for your sprinting, and of course sprinting just gives you movement speed, mitigation chance, and the ability to do it. For the sniper, we choose Focus. This just basically we unlock Focus when we start aiming, and our shots take no stamina for the duration. It lasts 2.5 seconds. This basically allows us to keep it rolling. If we can neutralize an enemy within 2.5 seconds, we reset the duration. And then Deep Breath slows down time for 25% for everybody while it's active, so we can kind of easily neutralize an enemy. This gives us faster reload speed when we neutralize an enemy while aiming, which we always do when we're focusing. This gives us minus 50% stamina cost from focus for each enemy neutralized while it was active. So this takes 40 stamina. I believe this will erase it if we kill 2 enemies while we're in focus. And then pull when focus is active, shooting grenades is out of the air. I just want to do it for flair. This is really not useful, but it could be fun. I don't take quick draw just because I'm a sniper, so I'm not really going to be swapping weapons. But we do have Deadeye. This gives extra headshot damage, less stamina cost, and then we get extra headshot damage and weak spot damage and no bullet spread when we're above 85% stamina, which, as I said in my earlier videos, works in conjunction with focus to basically create a really good loop. We take High Noon, which allows us to reload faster when Deadeye is active after we neutralize an enemy via headshot or weak point. Oh, and it slows time during reload. I didn't notice that. So read your tooltips, everybody. It's really helpful. And then we take Carolina. God, I cannot read today. It's early. Give me a break. We take California Reaper. This is 30% stamina after neutralizing an enemy. This just gets us back into Deadeye faster if we fall out of it. If we fall out of focus and we start losing stamina, this just helps us get right back into it. When Deadeye is active with long shot, your shots always deal full damage. That is just an amazing one, especially with Nerves of Tungsten Steel, which when Deadeye is active, you always do critical hits when you hit headshots and weak spots. So you're doing max damage, max critical damage with this. It's really crazy. And it increases damage as distance increases. So you're just doing tons of damage. I think it's going to be a really cool thing. For reflexes, we're really just taking all the movement reflexes. I was doing it mainly for the crit hits, and I know we get guaranteed criticals with Deadeye. But outside of that, just having extra crit hit is always good. For body, we don't take much. I'm just grabbing some of the health regen stuff. I have 4 perks, so you can kind of go. I'm just not sure how well Adrenaline Rush works with this build. If it works pretty good, I might take it for Adrenaline Rush because the max health and the health regen actually work really well. I'm just unsure about what Adrenaline Rush does. But Painkiller unlocks slow health regen in combat. You get 1% health regen rate for every % of missing health, which helps. Speed Junkie, 60% health regen rate while sprinting. So when we're running, we're regenerating health. And then Dwarf Head, when we use the Blood Pump Cyberware or a health item, 100% mitigation chance for 2 seconds, which is really good. As we're fighting from afar, I did not choose Army of One because I think the whole point of this build is to not be surrounded by enemies. So I'm hoping that becomes a thing, but we'll see. As far as Cyberware goes, I am planning on actually running a Cyber deck and not like a Sendavistan or Berserker with this build. I want to throw out hacks and just kind of control the enemies. I don't know how high up I can get with having no intelligence, but I'm going to see how it works, because my other one I would throw on ping and then I would just tech shoot through walls with ping up. So I'm hoping I can get a high level version of ping so that it lasts longer. If not, I may take some out of body because I have some extra body points without taking this that I can put into intelligence and maybe get like RAM or like try to extend something or, figure out something I can do that with. So that is my Tech Sniper build. As I get farther into it, I will post probably a better video, even though this is probably 10 to 15 minutes already. So sorry about that. Next up is something I'm calling the Saka Ninja. I really want to try a throwing knife build. and I've only played an hour and a half of this build, so I don't know if it's gonna work. So don't yell at me, don't at me if it doesn't work. But theoretically, I think it will work, and it might not work on very hard. I don't know. I don't do a lot of melee builds, so I'd love to hear other people's suggestions. But like I said, I'm going to cool first. I wanted to try something with throwing knives because I think throwing knives are really cool. And I wanted to do something sneaky, and I go, well, let's just do blades and mantis blades, and it'll all work in conjunction. Let's get into this one. We'll start off with cool. You put 20 points into it, and we unlock all the fast sneak stuff. This one is optical camo, activates automatically and consumes its charge when gradually when crouch, sprinting, or sliding. So it'll just go off when we're using it. I'm not sure if this is going to be annoying or not, so this could be a perk that we take out. The rest of this stuff we've already talked about. We're going to take Killer Instinct, which is 25% damage with knives, axes, and silenced guns outside of combat. But the big thing is they also show you about how much damage that they're going to take off the enemy. So, you know, you kind of get a preview of how much damage you're going to do, so you can gauge whether or not you want to throw that knife. You also take Quick Getaway, 10% movement speed after you neutralize an enemy while undetected. In the stacks 2 times, so you get 20% movement speed. Movement speed is always good. And then Gag Order, landing an attack on an enemy right after they detect you will delay detection from other nearby enemies, so you can kind of get in, get out. Take Scorpion Sting. This gives you recovery time for throwable weapons. So you throw your weapon, and then you get a little indicator, and when it reaches 0, your weapon comes back to your hand, unless you run up to it and pick it up. So this just allows you to get your throwing weapon back faster. At level 2, critical hits, headshots, and hits to weak spots with the throwing weapon also apply poison, which is really good too. Poison in this game is no joke. Take Neurotoxin, applying poison to an enemy via Scorpion Sting. Now also applies bleeding and disables sprinting for 6 seconds, so they can't get away from you. So you can basically hit them with a throwing knife and then come at them with a katana or something and just go to town. Corrosion allows you to apply poison to mechs, robots, and drones and turrets, which I thought was going to be pretty useful. We might not think it's useful, so that could definitely go out if we want to, but I thought that was pretty interesting. Accelerated toxin absorption, strong attacks and thrown weapons used against poison enemies instantly deal substantial poison damage and then remove all poison effects. So basically, you can poison them, then hit them with a strong katana attack and do a burst of damage. You know, you throw another knife into them and it just does a nice burst of damage. Maybe you can get out, because sometimes, especially in very hard, it takes a couple knife throws to kill something. And then we have Parasite, 15 health on crit hits and headshots with thrown weapons. Always great to just get those hit points back. Next, we'll take Juggler. This gives you another recovery time decrease, and then you get 20% headshot and weak shot damage with throwable weapons, and then instant cooldown reset for all throwable weapons after neutralizing an enemy with the throwable weapon via headshot, crit hit, or poison. Pay it forward after retrieving a thrown knife or axe from an enemy. Your first melee attack with throwable weapons gains 200% damage. This gives you a throwable weapon finisher. It automatically activates Juggler and restores health, so that is great. And then Pounce allows you to perform finishers from a great distance if you've hit an enemy with a throwable weapon. That's a fun thing that I forgot I had, and it surprised me when it happened. So that was just an exciting thing to happen. And then Sleight of Hand, 20% critical damage for 8 seconds whenever Juggler is activated, and it stacks 5 times, so that's 100% critical damage, which could be pretty interesting. And then Style over Substance, guaranteed critical hits with throwable weapons when crouch, sprinting, sliding, dodging, or dashing. And you have no movement speed penalty when aiming a throwable weapon, which is really good. Technical ability, we've seen all this too. We're just getting up to edge runners to get all of these. Reflexes, we get the non-shooting versions of the dashes and everything, of all the fun movement speed things. But now we're also adding katanas, and I believe mantis blades also fall into this. Take Lead and Steel, it's a stamina cost reduction, and then unlocks the ability to block projectiles with your blocks, which is helpful. And I believe with Bullet Deflect, when your stamina is above 33%, blocking projectiles will deflect them to wherever your reticle is aimed. So if you block them, you can actually shoot them back at things, basically turn your katana into a lightsaber and, you know, shoot the projectiles back. And if you do essentially a perfect block, you can do extra damage. And then bullet time, whenever time is slowed, bullet deflect does not consume stamina, and deflections automatically hit enemies for a critical hit. So this build is going to want to run with the Sandavestin and slow down time to just do all this fun, cool, and they basically have a Neo thing. So basically the cool Neo stuff. Seeing double, you increase damage and stun chance with counterattacks, special blade attacks. And then in conjunction with Mad Dash, you get Flash and Thunderclap when performing strong attacks. You now automatically leap to enemies within range. These leap attacks can also be performed from midair and deal additional damage. It scales with the distance of the leap. I believe there was an iconic katana that allowed you to leap, so this basically just allows you to do that with any katana. So even the one, I don't know if it's changed because I haven't taken a look at it. I have it in my stash in one of my playthroughs, but I haven't looked. But the one that you get in your above Yorinobu's penthouse suite in the helicopter did like 500% crit damage. That could be really strong. So I'm not sure if it's still there, if they've fixed it, but that could be something with this could be pretty crazy. We'll take Finisher Blade Runner. We get less stamina cost, more attack speed, and then we get the Blade Finisher, which also then restores 25% health, so that keeps you going. I've heard that blade builds suffer from not as much mitigation as, say, a Gorilla Arms build. Flash of Steel, 25% movement speed and attack speed for 6 seconds after performing a finisher. It just allows you to get back and get to the next enemy super quick and start taking them down, so you can unlock another finisher and just kind of go finisher to finisher. And then going the distance, you get an extra range on your finisher. And then we have Slaughterhouse. All attacks, counterattacks, and deflected bullets apply bleeding, which increases dismemberment chance. Bleeding cannot kill enemies, but does make them more susceptible to finishers, and you get 25% stamina from dismemberments, which happens all the time because you are wielding blades. And then body, I actually did choose Adrenaline Rush for this because I think it works fairly well with melee builds. You can correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be wrong. But basically, we take all the regen stuff, including Army of One, because we should be surrounded by stuff, by enemies. And then we take Adrenaline Rush, which gives max health, max more health regen, and then unlocks Adrenaline Rush. So this build, like I said, for Cyberware, we're going to use Mantis Blades because why not? I mean, the Saka Ninjas use it against us. Why not use it against them? There's also a Cyberware piece called Stabber that adds, I think, critical chance for thrown blades and regular blades. So that's a good one. And then, as I said, Sandavestin to slow down time and get some of those perks from the blade tree. I'm only an hour and a half into this playthrough, so I don't know how this is going to work. So if anybody has any suggestions, please let me know. But those are 2 more builds that I think could work when we get into Phantom Liberty. Let me know what you think. As always, I do stream on Twitch, so you can check me out there. I also post builds all the time for the various games I'm playing, so follow me here and you'll get updates. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you later.